Would you like to grow trees and shrubs in your living room? Or even have a complete forest? Well, it's possible, if you learn how to reduce them in size. And I'm told it's not all that difficult.
Even if you've never grown anything successfully in all your life, you can grow bonsai. I did.
Today's guest, Connie Derderian, is going to prove to me and to you the truth of that statement in this program, which, curiously enough, is called Connie, that you also wear a working apron. No frills for you?
No, I can't work without this. They're great with plants.
Well, now, what have we got here? My goodness, we have just everything. Berries. We start, I see, with a flowering plant. What's that?
That's, sorry.
Well, never mind. It's a flowering plant.
Sarissa fetida.
Uh-huh.
My favorite plant. Couldn't think of the name.
Name's girl. That's a skimmia, I suppose.
Yes, that's a skimmia. And a carissa.
And what's that little? Don't tell me that's a Chamanocephalus.
It's a saguaro cypress, yes, and it's possible to grow that indoors.
Isn't that very difficult? Doesn't it get browned off?
Yes, it does, and you've got to keep it picked off and picked back so that it will stay fresh and green looking.
Uh-huh. There is a tree, and absolutely the Rock of Gibraltar, where I'm concerned. What's that?
That's a Japanese maple, and that's a 40-year-old tree. But that's got to be grown outdoors.
Does that leaf out and go through the whole horticultural cycle?
It goes through all the processes in the pot that it does when it's in the ground.
And you're proposing to teach me how to do something like that?
Yes, indeed.
Let's go ahead and try. Are these your tools?
Yes, thank you.
And I bring this.
Need that later.
Well, why don't I give it to you there? Well, now, if you're going to teach me about bonsai, you're going to have to start, probably, by telling me how to pronounce it. We'll let that one go. With the pots, I've always understood there are special requirements for the pots. What are they?
Pot can be glazed on the outside, but never on the inside. And it must always have drainage holes.
No, that's just straight horticultural practice. It need not have this very lovely glaze, is that it?
No, we can have...
Are these the unglazed ones?
Yes, those are sometimes called training pots, but they're usually used when you're planting evergreens because of their color. They are less distracting to the plant.
And, certainly, is this one, this shallow, tiny little thing?
Yes, there are trees which can grow in that, too. And this one is almost ready for planting.
Oh, a very tortured tree is going to be put in there.
Don't use that word.
Oh, all right. Well, now, we are presumably going to work in this one, as I see you have it all prepared. What's this?
That's to hold the tree in its place when it gets there.
And that's obviously this, then?
Yes, this is the first stage, this is the second.
What's this?
Plastic screening, which you can get at any hardware store. And this is the kind that you use on the screens in your window.
I keep the earwigs and worms up?
It does very nicely.
And then you put some kind of drainage material, obviously.
Pebbles, little pebbles, one thin layer. You don't fill it with pebbles.
Well, go ahead and show me how. I'm not at all convinced I can learn.
Well, let us bring out our table with which to work first. There.
And what else can I get you?
The plant.
What plant are we going to use?
We're going to use the azaleas on your left. There.
This looks to me like the kind of ratty azalea I have in the house at the moment.
Well, probably just about everybody has an azalea like this at this time of year and doesn't know what to do with it.
Throw it away?
So, no.
Why not?
It's perfect. We can use this to experiment with. We don't care whether it lives or dies, and we may have beautiful bonsai.
Oh, you can't always be sure your bonsai is going to live?
No, not always. Even the experts have failures.
Oh, well, that'll be rather fun, because this will certainly get me in the clear. Now,
No, not that pot. That's much too deep. That's for a cascade.
This looks to me like a suitable pot for this.
No, because then you see we'd have to plant it like this and have it hanging over the edge of the pot. And this material isn't suitable for that kind of pot.
Take your word for it. Well, what are you going to do to that?
Well, first thing we're going to do is to clean away the thin twigs to the side.
I saw one sort of cut above. Oh, here it is.
Yes.
Is that what would it be?
Yes, that's all ready for us to work with. Now let's get that done.
Let me just contrast them for a moment. Oh, I see. You've cut out a great deal.
You can see the basic shape in that one. It's almost the same as this, and that's why these are a good example.
So you prepare them before you take them out of the pot?
Yes, cleaning away most of the debris and small twigs and branches which are unnecessary to the line of the tree. Then you can decide where the front and where is the back.
You have to have a front and a back?
Definitely, there is always a front and a back to the plant. In this case, this is the front of the plant.
Why?
Here. Because that is where the best line of the trunk is seen, and you can get a branch to the front and to the side.
All right, now what happens?
We're going to remove this. You can see this is the kind of thing which, even though it is the same size as the rest of the branches, is crossing the line and is not good. So we're going to cut it off. No, not that.
What's the matter?
I'm sorry, but you've got to use a small nose clipper.
That's my very expensive English shirt.
I'm sorry, it's not suitable. You must use something with a pointed nose because it will get between the branches without hurting them.
That is Japanese?
Easily. I'm afraid so. There are others. I'm sure the English make tools which have a nice small nose on it. You'll have to look further, Thalassa. Here, cut that.
Am I supposed to do
away.
this?
Yes.
All right.
And cut away the twigs along the side.
Now I take this right out.
Yes, as close to the trunk as possible, neatly.
I'm not going to get out of those. Oh, no, there we are.
Good.
All right. Now.
There we are. Now we're ready to take it out of, I would take away this business because that's broken, but we may bandage that back on.
Bandage?
Yes,
Bandage?
I've used Band-Aids on my trees, you know, as you work with them.
I've used adhesive. I've used electrical tape on mine.
There we are. All right, now take it out of its pot, please.
At last, something I know how to do. Yep. Oh, is this your plant? It has no crocks.
I'm sure we'll find one somewhere up. This is the way it came from the nursery. Now, first thing we're going to do.
Now let me get it ready for you.
No.
Why not?
Upright. We're going to work with the top first. First thing we're going to do is to remove the soil from...
Wait a minute. What's that thing?
Chopstick. This is the only tool which you have to buy, which you have to have. We aren't going to be able to keep that to bandage it. It
doesn't look a bit like the chopsticks I struggled with. Mine didn't have a point.
Well, these have to have a small point, but not a sharp point, because then they'll injure the roots. Just a nice rounded point.
Could you use a knitting needle?
Yes, you could.
And what are you up to?
Now we're going to dig away at the top.
Just for the love of destruction?
No. We're looking for the surface roots.
In order to destroy them?
No, we're not going to destroy them. The surface roots are usually quite beautiful.
But you are destroying
them. They're heavier. No, I'm just taking away soil, that's all. See? Now, I'll show you what I'm looking for. Here's the plant. Would you take that, please?
Sure.
Now, you can see the lovely surface roots which I found. They were all completely buried.
These things?
Yes, those things. Now, when we work the soil down far enough, those are what we find, and those lovely knobby knees make the tree look older immediately.
Isn't this going to give the tree a severe traumatic shock?
I'm sure, but I'm having one too at this point, so...
No knees?
Not yet. Let's see if we can't find some in there.
Well, I suppose you don't find it in it, which are not going to,
yes,
apparently.
we will. Here. You see there, we're coming to the surface roots now.
But now you've changed the level. Look at your own level.
Yes.
Is that not going to hurt the plant?
And then you can also see that you didn't do a good job of cutting that. That's got to be cut much more closely to the trunk, to the trunk of the tree.
This clearly is why one has guests. But by my horticultural theory is if you change the level of a tree, you ruin it. Is it not so?
No, we've lowered this by almost, a good inch now, and it will do it no harm. The other plant was lowered by about 2 inches, 2.5 inches.
Let me get this out for you and we can see better.
There. Once we've reached the surface roots, we'll turn this over.
Oh, let me show the surface roots, because we really haven't seen them yet.
There we are.
And where's the knobby knee?
I'm sorry, we can't find any in this. This one evidently was not quite old enough to develop knobby knees.
But these are the surface roots you're looking for?
Yes.
Yes. Now what do we do?
Now we're going to turn it over.
And do that all over again?
Lower I'll raise the level of the soil in this case.
I just don't see why the plant ever recovers from this. How can you be sure a bonsai is going to recover from this sort of thing?
Well, one is never sure, but practice makes perfect, and success will come. Oh, you have an uninvited guest.
Wildlife on the program goes on and on and on.
Now,
I'm not going to slaughter that. Just a minute. Let me give it a happy home.
Would you take now and give it looks like a beetle, you can give it a haircut. Take and cut around the edge all of those hanging roots.
You mean trim my pastry pot? You don't even trust me to hold it?
Very strongly. Good. In a little bit more. That's it.
I can't see why on earth you just don't wash the soil off the roots. Seems to be half the trouble.
No, because then we'll disturb the very inner root ball, and that we want to leave intact, because that, I found, is helpful in trying to keep it alive.
I don't believe a thing's intact in
Would you please take a little more off on that side?
Yeah?
There, yes.
Why?
Because you've got some long roots, and we want it to develop. That's it. All right. Thank you. That will do just fine.
Oh, poor miserable object. What are we doing now?
Just set it down. Let me see. There we are. I think we're ready to put it in its container now.
Now, let me see. You had one. Oh, here now. I'll get rid of that, because we'll not be able to show what we're doing. Just a minute. There we are.
Good.
Now, this miserable little mutilated object, where I am concerned, now goes into this?
Yes. Now, you see...
Liking it?
Thalassa, this is the front to us. You see?
Well, I suppose I see, yes.
All right. Now, that has to go into the front of the pot. We'll put the container up here.
Can I try and see if I've learned?
Now, would you get the main soil first, please?
Before I put the potting in?
Yes.
This is the main soil.
Yes,
okay.
That's the main soil.
Do I get...
No, not like that. Handle it gently, please. This is soil which we have put through sieves so that we can...
I have ruined that rather ordinary-looking soil?
You can ruin it easily. I hope you haven't. But you don't want to make any powder. This has gone through sieves so that we can have soil without any powder whatsoever. And each little kernel is separate. And if you handle it roughly, you see it becomes powder, and then we'll defeat the purpose of the sieving. You see all that powder?
I do, and that is a danger sign in the soil?
Definitely. This will prevent the soil from draining very freely, and that will drown the plant, and that's why you lose your bonsai. A properly potted bonsai will not be overwatered.
Well, now, what have you made this soil of? Obviously, you don't buy this in a bag.
No, it's 1/3 garden soil, which has been dried and put through a sieve, and 1/3 peat moss, which has also been put through a sieve, and 1/3 sand. This is the ordinary potting soil.
It's a fast-draining soil, obviously.
Yes.
I'm sorry that I was ready to ruin it, but I now realize why you have this elegant little scoop. This is in order not to ruin the soil, is that it?
Yes.
What do I do? Spread it on the bottom?
Yes. Would you cover the pebbles?
Deep?
No.
Just
a nice covering so that all of the pebbles are covered. And on this side, would you put a mound of soil?
Ah. We are now getting a level. Is that it?
No, that's all right. That's so that we will have no air pockets underneath our tree. In an oblong pot, you plant to the side. There, gently move that in. You plant to the side and not in the middle of the container. We didn't get enough root from that, so we'll take it out. We'll use our shears and cut away. There, about good. Very good. There.
I should really rather like to have a show of this tree later on.
Now it's in place. You'll fill the soil.
Oh,
One needs more soil. Fill it up now. Wait a minute. I forgot to wire it over. Take the wires, cross them over, and twist.
I presume you never wire around the bark of the tree, because that would cut the tree.
Yes.
And this is to keep the whole thing steady?
Yes.
Isn't it wobbling about?
Yes.
And that's copper wire, because of course it's the longest lasting, is that it?
Yes, and it's also the least toxic to the roots.
I know. And now I just fill in?
Fill in.
This all seems to me a very elaborate proceeding. It's absolutely vital.
Yes. Just all on top of the thing. Just mound.
I don't do any of the things I would do naturally, because I feel I should be told no now.
Yes. Liberally fill in. That's it. There you are. Okay.
All my usual speed.
May I have some more over here, please? That's it. Now, take your chopstick.
And do what?
Poke.
Poke why? And poke where?
Like this. Short jabbing strokes. The soil will go down. You see it disappearing? Right down into the container.
As that level is dropping, isn't it?
Yes. Now we're going to need more soil there.
You're rather like a sort of chopsticking bee.
In one place, until you get it filled, and then move on to the next spot. You see?
But how do you know when? Oh, it's just I feel.
Yes.
Just like anything else.
Yes.
Yeah.
You see it's creating a hole down in there.
I see.
That's it. Now, as fast as that gets down so deeply, and soil. That's it.
Probably we won't be able to get all this in, much as I would like to. As long as I learn the process, I can see what I'm up to. Yeah, I can begin to feel the resistance of the soil against the old root ball. Is that it?
No, yes.
Yeah.
Now you see when the soil no longer goes down in, we are ready to finish it off.
Finish it off in more ways than one. For me doing it.
This will survive in spite of us. You wait and see. There.
It seems to go on almost indefinitely. We do this all over again?
No, that's gone down sufficiently. Now we're just creating the soil level now, you see.
With a paintbrush?
Yes. Paintbrush is a very handy tool.
You don't think you're being a bit fussy?
No. This is what creates a landscape. Really. Now, there are some unnecessary roots at the top, which we can just cut away.
You mean this?
Not drastically.
I thought that was knobby knees.
Well, yes, cut it off. That one isn't quite large enough to be knobby.
And you were nasty about the way I cut the original thing.
Will you cut holes?
I must say this must be a very strong-minded plant.
Oh, that's enough. Here, please. Good.
And what about that which I said to have done wrong?
Well,
You want me to cut it right against it?
Yes, if you can with those.
Do you paint it afterwards as I would if that was out of doors?
Definitely. If you have nothing further, pardon me.
That looks like something out of a medieval torture chamber.
I like a nice, neat. If you have nothing else to use Vaseline.
Oh, really?
On a wound. Yes, anything to keep the air and disease.
Like a burn?
Yes.
I never knew that.
Yes. Now.
Well, now you've created a sort of soil. We just pop some moss on?
We are not finished yet.
Well, what's this?
This is fine soil, which we will use
with, I observe, a fine little scoop.
Yes.
Japanese?
No, from the country store. Very American. Flour scoop. There. Now you see, that has had all of its soil removed. It's been put through a fine screen so that it would have a good, loose, draining.
It's also debris, in fact, after a screening through a very fine screen, is that it?
Well, yes, it is. It's been through 2 screens, and now this is what remains above the 1/16th screening.
And what do you do with that?
We'll sprinkle that over the top.
And what's the purpose of that?
Well, this is what I call cement, for lack of a better term.
You mean like that?
Yes, this welds the moss to the main soil.
This is like turfing a lawn. You've got to have a loose and friable stuff immediately under the sod in the lawn, and I presume basically this is the same function.
It sounds like it. I don't know enough about lawns to be able to know.
I don't know enough about bonsai. I know that I'm not talking through my head.
That's enough.
But not?
Yeah, we've got more than plenty. Now we're going to take the excess of that away. There. Now, we're ready for it. This should be soaked thoroughly. And we can use our ever-ready watering can to do this.
You've worked, of course, in entirely dry soil, haven't you?
Yes, it's very important that the plant be dried out before the plant is taken out of its container.
Yeah, they've been dried for a couple of days.
Yes, at least. And then it's important that the soil be dry. In this way, you're less apt to have air pockets. It goes down, the dry soil goes down between very much more easily.
I like your homemade watering can. Terrific.
Detergent bottle works beautifully.
Let me have it, even though you're waiting, because I feel sure people would like to see it. If I can make it. It just comes just like that. Absolutely perfect for people who want to know how to water neatly and tidily. And now what?
Moss. Would you get the moss? No,
Moss?
just finish.
Moss.
Careful with water in that pan.
Oh.
Take the moss out.
Does it matter?
Yes. Get it all over yourself. If it were not for your set, we would water this from above and let it run right straight down through.
This looks exactly like the moss from my woods. Is it just ordinary moss you can get anywhere?
You can get it anywhere you find it, yes. Don't get thick moss. There's a piece of moss here which is quite heavy. You see, that's much too deep because that...
You mean
the top, this moss, the depth of the moss is too deep. We'll take something which lies
it needs
flatter.
It needs to have had the lawnmower over it, does it?
Yes. There. Now,
you're not going to chopstick something else out again, are you?
Yes.
Why?
Take away the excess soil from the back of the moss. This has been done somewhat already.
Yeah.
Dip it in water and then apply it to the surface of the plant. Thank you.
See if I can find some that meets your rather rigid standards.
I think one more piece will do it. That's too big a piece, Thalassa. Just cut it right off here. This is just like making a patchwork quilt. No, still too big. Oh, good. This falls apart nicely. There we go.
And then another bit here?
That little corner we're going to leave open so that we can see what condition the soil is in as we work.
Oh, that you do with the new plant?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Now, taking the brush, squeeze the bristles together.
Mm-hmm.
And tap it very gently so that you don't make the soil. Can you do it?
Yeah. This is making it meet.
That's
the loose, fine soil.
Firming it up so that there are no air spaces between the moss and the soil. Good.
Then do you re-water?
Let's see. Yes. Then we will re-water. See how nicely that runs right down into the plant.
Well, that's sort of half my idea of one of these things. I'm fascinated by the planting of it, but I still expect the tree to be all kinds of angles and all kinds of twists. How do you do that?
We do have to change the shape. This is out farther than I would like it. I want to bring it in.
Mm-hmm. How do you do that? What?
Exactly. Take a nice length of copper wire, cutting away, 1/3 more wire than what we need, anchoring it firmly at the base, once around the trunk, and then up. And
you don't pull it tight?
Not too tight, not too loose, not too close, and not too far apart. Now there's a good rule for you to try to follow.
That's not anything that one would do naturally here. And then, when it's wired in, what?
When it's wired in, push up and around.
Oh, it's the wire bends the branch. I never fathomed how that was done. I somehow thought that you pulled it into position with the wire. That explains this one. This is a more fully wired tree, isn't it?
Yes. Well, that one required more shaping. And so, this is what you would have to do with the plant.
And how are you
going? The string is an additional.
And how are you going to, what do you expect that to look like in the end? What is your pattern for that?
In 6 years, I hope it will look like that.
So you've given that another nasty attack on the root system, because look at how narrow and small that is in comparison with this.
Yes, it can be cut down even further. We've also reduced from the top the length of the branches. And in this way, you see.
Well, the leaves are also smaller. That comes immediately, or does that come time?
That comes with time. Once that is done, this is what we do. And that's what it looks like.
And this is going to bloom?
I'd lower that too. Yes, that will bloom.
And though the leaves will reduce.
Some of its leaves, it will reduce. And it will behave just the same as it would were it in the ground or in your greenhouse.
But its blooms always will stay the same original size, won't they, while the leaves do get smaller.
Blooms and fruit do not reduce, but leaves do.
Well, I certainly have learnt a lot today. No horticulturalist ever thinks that they know everything about anything, or that they know everything about their own subject. And it's an immense pleasure to have a chance to learn a whole set of new horticultural standards and ideas. And I'm certainly going to try some of this as a result of this demonstration which has come on this program today, which is called